Welcome back to Smart Money Moves USA. Today, we're diving straight into Plug Power's next big catalyst. We're trying to answer the absolute million-dollar question here. What exactly could move Plug higher next?
After a real roller coaster of recent earnings and all this swirling recovery talk across the green energy sector, investors are really zeroing in on one critical question right now. What happens next for Plug stock?
Plug Power has, for sure, already made its fair share of major headlines recently. But to actually answer that question, we need to completely shift our focus. We've got to step away from the noise of past news cycles and look strictly at the execution. We're talking about the concrete next moves that could actually send the stock significantly higher or, honestly, sharply lower.
To figure that out, here's our agenda for this explainer. We'll look at what happens next for Plug, then we'll break down 4 specific catalysts: project execution, improving margins, cash and liquidity, and short interest. And finally, we'll wrap up with why execution is the absolute bottom line. All right, so let's jump right into it. What actually happens next for Plug as we shift from those flashy headlines to real execution? Well, for Plug Power to transition from hopeful recovery talk to actual undeniable financial stability, they really have to clear 4 massive hurdles. Look, Wall Street isn't handing out free passes anymore, right? Institutional and retail investors alike are demanding step-by-step proof that the company can navigate these specific challenges before they commit serious capital. That brings us to our first major catalyst, project execution, specifically expanding the electrolyzer business.
The crucial point here is footprint expansion. The market is absolutely desperate for proof of scale. Electrolyzers, which are essentially the machines that split water into hydrogen, they're the beating heart of Plug Power's growth narrative. So if the company announces a major new project win or shows tangible, on-the-ground deployment of these systems in the US and internationally, boom, that proves the commercial demand is real. It takes the story from theoretical projections to actual cold, hard revenue generation. That kind of tangible progress is a massive, fundamental catalyst that can completely reset the stock's trajectory. Moving right along to catalyst number 2, improving margins and building a fundamentally stronger business.
Now, top-line revenue growth is great, but it frankly means nothing if a company is losing money on every single sale, right? Over the next few quarters, investors demand undeniable proof that Plug Power is actively building a profitable business. This means demonstrating pricing power and real operational efficiency. Shrinking the cost of production and improving those margins is literally the fastest way to turn market sentiment entirely positive. When you prove you can actually keep more of every dollar you make, the big institutional money takes notice, and that fundamentally changes how the company is valued. Now let's talk about catalyst number 3, which is cash and liquidity. This is all about addressing the single biggest investor risk out there.
Building large-scale green energy infrastructure is incredibly capital-intensive. It takes a ton of money up front. Right now, Plug's cash burn is arguably the dark cloud hanging over the stock, especially in a macroeconomic environment where borrowing money just isn't cheap anymore. If management can execute on some very specific financial goals, like showing stronger liquidity, stopping the cash bleed, or securing positive financing developments without aggressively diluting current shareholders, they instantly remove the market's biggest fear. Securing the balance sheet is paramount here, because once bankruptcy or heavy dilution fears are officially off the table, the stock has incredible room to breathe.
And finally, our 4th catalyst involves short interest, which is often the main trigger for incredibly sharp market moves. Make no mistake, Plug is a highly contested battleground stock. You've got the bulls waiting patiently for a major operational turnaround, and the bears placing massive bets on financial stumbles. Because short interest is historically so high with this particular company, the stock trades like a powder keg. If a positive catalyst hits, like say a surprise contract or a margin beat, those shorts are suddenly trapped. They're forced to buy back shares immediately to cover their losing bets. This buying pressure stacks right on top of natural investor excitement, which can trigger a violent upward short squeeze in the market very quickly.
So, what does this all mean? Well, our bottom line here is simply that execution is everything.
Ultimately, it's all about execution over hype. Plug Power's next massive directional move won't rely on a flashy, isolated headline or some empty promise. It's going to depend entirely on delivering a triple threat: tangible project progress, continuous margin improvement, and ironclad financial stability. That is the exact formula Wall Street is waiting for. If management can lock down these 3 pillars, they won't just move the stock higher, they'll completely rewrite the entire narrative surrounding the company's future.
Now I really want to hear from you. Looking at all this data,
What do you think will be Plug Power's next biggest catalyst? Is it going to be a massive new contract, better earnings, or something completely out of left field? Comment below with your thoughts. And hey, if you enjoy these deep dive stock market explainers, make sure to subscribe to Smart Money Moves USA, and I'll see you in the next one.